What's up, guys? It's January 4th, 2024. I just want to wish everyone a Happy New Year before we get started. I also want to show my Instagram, where I post most of my content, whether it's just my trading videos or knowledge in the market. Now, if you go to the link, it will also give you all my links over here from YouTube, TikTok, my Discords, and courses. Again, all my courses over here, so just go check all this out if you like my content. But let's get straight to it. We are on let's actually go to a weekly time frame now. Obviously, we've been in a major bull run, even just from down here. But since October, we've had an extreme bull run, broke highs, and then we have this really nasty weekly candle on the new year. This is also NQ that we're talking about. You can see it up here. And now the discrepancy between NQ and ES, I'll show it right here. Now you can see the discrepancy between NQ and ES. It almost looks exactly the same, as you can see when I flip it quick here. Besides these lows down here, not as low as NQ. And this drop candle that we have on the weekly, ES is kind of sustaining a little bit better than NQ. Now, this being said, this is happening because everyone's taking their profits on the year's end between this massive bull run in here. So everyone's pulling profits at all-time highs. The end of the year, everything happened perfectly at the same time to get a nice dump in the market. So now we go down to the daily, and you can see us just bleeding the last couple of days. Not much of a bounce in here, a little pull-up, and then just straight down even harder. Today was a lot slower of a day. It was more liquidity pool to either come down and test these levels in here or back up. This being said, if you check out ES, you can see it's a lot tighter. We're still holding these levels almost, as NQ just dumped right past them. This being said, also the Dow Jones, holding great. The Dow Jones is the strongest indice at the moment between ES and NQ. This is obviously just the after hours change. This doesn't really mean much right here. But Dow Jones still holding nice and high. All-time highs, holding it good. Basin candles, which mean nothing. Actually, almost an inside candle too over here. So we would like to see either this get tighter again and then break either to the upside or the downside for a massive move. I think if NQ stays weak and ES starts to follow, we'll obviously just get this here and then down. Don't mind the drawings. Now, along with that being said, we also have VX, which, as you can see, all-time lows. And now we're starting to creep up again a little bit. I'll put it on the 15 minutes so you can see a little bit better. We're starting to creep up a little bit again. Now, this is just indecision right here in the market, this wedge coming along here. So you can see 1, 2, 3 points like this, and you can even make a wedge like this. I believe within this week, we're going to get a big move in the market. VX starts to come up. It'll give us some confluence of ES having more pressure on it and then coming down. If you don't know how VX works, it works inverse as the S&P 500. So if VX goes up, it puts more pressure on the S&P 500. If VX comes down, chances are the dips in the market will get bought up. As you can see, this big dip in December 23rd, all the way down from that high. We come back to December 23rd. I mean, that's just a massive move up after that big fall. So what I'll be looking for in the market with ES, put this to an hour time frame, make it a little bit easier to see. There's not much going on in between here. I mean, you can look past. There's a touch there. That's where we're holding actually this previous point, but there's not much in here. So I'm looking for a level of this to either be a demand zone right here, obviously. A nice demand zone in here to either hold, and then we'll come down and then back up. Should look like this, and then back up. I do believe if we end up passing this low over here, we're going to see that demand zone, like I said, because there's not much resistance. But if we end up making a new zone in here or touching that one, I believe we come back up to pull a little bit more liquidity if we end up going back down again, following NQ. So you can see these lows were breached. They were really trying to hold on over here, and it just couldn't happen. There was just too much weakness in the market. Everyone's taking profits. So this is a key area for me right here, and also a reclaim of these supports. I either want to see this area become resistance, the market comes back up, finds more sellers, and then come down, or the market breaks through this and it becomes support once again. So it'd be like this. Here, you see as I have that line there, and then down. I really just want to see this demand zone get touched in here. And if not, like I said, we'll test this supply and then this one. We also have a pretty good fair value gap in here. So that should bring some interest in there alone. Now again with NQ, it's kind of the same thing. NQ has just dropped a lot harder. There's a big discrepancy between ES and NQ. Usually they kind of move hand in hand. One is weaker, one's a little bit stronger on the day. But the past couple of days since the big sell-off in NQ, there's been a big difference in ES and NQ. This leading a lot more chop, I feel like, in the market along with these sells. This was yesterday, insanely hard to trade unless you got in at the highs early, overnight. The move really happened overnight, honestly. But even just this today, I mean, we got one good move in the morning. I actually capitalized on this move. If you can see, you'll see when I press over here. That's what I capitalized on. I ended up getting in on my pre-market plan above 16,500. Boom, right there. Waited it out. Supply came, and then we bum rushed down. But like I said, super choppy at the end of the day. It's really hard, especially when you like small stop losses like I do, to get in at a mid position somewhere in here or even in here and just see it just go down, up, get close to stop loss, maybe even hit stop loss, come back up into profit. It's very frustrating and mentally fatiguing in my opinion. If you didn't get in at the bottom over here on this third bottom wick or at this one down here, I mean, hindsight's easy, very easy, 2020 obviously. This last wick over here, you definitely probably struggled with some fear in the market, especially if you were possibly oversizing, which most people do. But let's get back to a bigger time frame on what I'm looking at. This dip was very quickly brought up right here. So we'll see what my levels are over here. As you can see, I already have that dip marked. I actually have to clean up my zones. There's so many things over here. This dip was very, very aggressive. I will be looking at this dip to see if we trade into here and then the demand zone underneath. Now we come into today's movement. I'll be looking for, like I said, a break of this low. Coming into this zone right here. This is a key area for me, a key number. We will see either big orders on the lots right here or at obviously 16,400, which is a psychological number, and then into demand. That being said, this is pretty hard. We'll have to see how pre-market works. In the morning, we might get a rally above this level, but if we stay in this consolidation zone, I'll look for a breach of the low, possible small retest up to then get short into the demand zone or into this level. You can do take profit 1 and take profit 2. Or if we get above this general area right here, maybe even 16,500 again, which was today's call out, I'll look to then long to 16,550, which is 50 points on NQ, and then even possibly into supply again. Maybe we get lucky. VX comes down, which takes some heat off of ES, and we can even rally past these zones and somewhere even higher. But then again, like I said, for the shorts, TP1, TP2 somewhere in here, probably just the first touch. And then if we get some retracement and we still look weak, I might even take a second position back down to here. So it would look like this. Right here, if we start to retrace, we go like this. I'll look to then take another position downwards unless we see a lot of aggressive buying coming out of demand. And then I'll look to actually eat this demand zone up, take profit 1 over here, and then take profit 2 at this demand zone over here. If we see buying pressure on the tape, I will look to then long out of this demand zone. Now, if I am too late on my entry, the move happens overnight, I would just wait. I wouldn't take the short. I would wait for some market clues in context. The market has to tell its story for a little bit, get into this demand zone or this line. If I see great buying off, I would then look to long out of this zone upwards to then 16,450 and my key areas up here. Now, as far as Apple and all that stuff like that, Apple has been taking an absolute hit. As you can see, we're holding this area over here, this previous resistance. Obviously, it becomes support. So I want to see this area hold along with NQ becoming bullish. If we hold this area, I'll look for Apple to support NQ and then come back up around. If we end up dumping through this area, my next area of interest would be 178.70 area, 178.50. But I really like to see this resistance hold if I am bullish on NQ. If I am bearish, I'd like to see this fall. Tesla, the same thing, just chopping in this area. This is a big area of liquidity. Look how much the market has been in this area, pulling orders either which way. Now we get back into this area. Look how tight Tesla has been also. So I'd really like to see this come upwards again if I am bullish on NQ. If Tesla and Apple react good together, it will give us a nice catalyst for NQ to make a good move back up. Again, if we end up having to go short on NQ and or ES, Apple and Tesla, I want to see them weak. Tesla coming back down to this area over here of support, either in here or the second support down here would be nice. Now, for those of you who trade oil or are looking to trade oil, it's very, very simple. We just go to a daily, see how we're looking. We're in this little zone right here, high or low. We have to realize that there's a higher low here and a higher low here, lower and lower. So with that being said, we could come along here, put that there, and we just draw it to whatever looks nice, honestly. You can even see if these will match up here to here. It's coming a little outwards. So I'm looking for a line break of this. I mean, the 4 hour seems to be good. This is a nice candle showing that buyers are present in here, trying to make a higher low. So I would then look to either get in a little early in here to possibly get this nice move up like this, coming out of this zone. Even if we were to fake out and reject this zone right here, we would still be in the profit to over here. So we can still pull some profits in here, or we can just set our stop to break even and not lose any money. Now, if we're to find a really negative candle on the 4 hour, 2 or 1 hour, I would then look to short again to get in early before the zone breaks, just in case buyers try to show some support right here in this demand zone. So if we end up getting some support in this demand zone, again, we're in early and we either take profits or we set our stop to break even. So it'd be like this. We can fake either which way. I don't trade oil as often, so I mainly trade NQ and ES. So that's my recap. The main thing is to keep an eye on VX, see where it's going. We're in a wedge right now. If we end up coming up higher, I expect a bigger drop on ES. It's going to put a lot of pressure on us. We're going to get this demand zone right here and even possibly break it to the next one down in here. Now for NQ, if VX backs off and ES starts to sustain and make higher highs, it will guide and aid NQ to come back and be a little bit stronger. I want to see them start to move in together, whether ES has to drop a little bit more to then come to NQ and they can work together, or NQ really has to just pull in the power hour, catch back up, and the market can start gliding and working together again. Because when there's a discrepancy like this, it's very, very hard to trade. NQ might be dumping and then ES gets into demand zone and that will support NQ, and vice versa. ES might be going so strong, NQ gets into a supply zone, and then we start to stutter step in ES and it just creates a lot of hectic activity. So any questions, you can either leave in the comments, DM me on Instagram, or if you're not in the Discord, I have a free version. You can always join and you can always DM me on Discord. That's where I'm most active. And that is it for the recap of January 4th.